Okay, I have started recording. Now I'm going to share my screen. um, can you still hear me? Okay, let me do a real what is called let me say let me share my screen. Can you see my screen? Okay, now can you see? Okay, so okay, let me see. All right, so can you see now? Okay, so regarding this class and object, right? What is class? What is object? So regarding this class and object, it is uh, your understanding on this class and object will have to be very clear. Java is totally class and object oriented language. It is totally an object oriented programming language, what is called OOP, right? Now, what is class and what is object, right? Now, if you want to define class is the blueprint of the object. It is a blueprint. It is like you define the variables, you define the methods in the class, and when you declare an object, right, remember, when you declare an object, by declaring that object and by using that object, you can use the variables and methods, right? Whatever you have defined in the class, you can use those. Okay, so a class has properties and behavior. Class has properties and behavior. The variables, those you defined, are the properties of the class, right? And the methods, right? The methods, those you define inside your class, is the behavior of the class. So let me quickly define a simple class and explain this corresponding terminology. This class and object concept is very important. I'll have to spend several sessions. I'll be bringing PowerPoint presentation as well to discuss this issue, discuss these facts here. Now, first of all, let me create a new project, and then name this project as, let's say, uh, classes. Let me put this naming convention, classes and objects. Okay, and let's say finish, right? And then you come here inside your class, right? Let's say I'm going to create a package, right? Name it as my package 1, right? This is my first package, and let's say I'm going to create another package. Now, what are these packages? Previously we have discussed these packages are like, these packages will hold your classes, will hold your interfaces, right? Inside class you put your resources, you put your classes, you put your interfaces, you put your abstract classes, everything you put it inside the package, right? So let me create another package here, name it as package 2 and finish. Now I'm going to go back to my first package. Let me close this previous example that I had. Inside my package, right, I'm going to create a class. Let's say I'm going to name this class as my processor, or let's say my method class, my methods, or let's say my working class, working CLS, right, and finish. So inside the working CLS, right, inside the working CLS, let's define two variable. Let's say string s1 comma s2. Let's say I have two string, and then I'm going to have a method, right? I'm going to have a method, let's say initially, right, void my my example method, my example, right? And here you say, okay, you print something in the output, system dot out system dot out dot print ln, right? Let's say we are printing a message here, just a message here. From inside my example, from inside my example method, from inside my example method. Okay, so here you see that system out println, and from inside my example method I am doing something, right? Let's say now if you execute your code, right, if you execute your code, you will see it will not execute anything. It will basically, actually it is executing the probably other Selenium class that I have, but let me can you see it is basically, it was opening probably some other let me see what it was opening. Session not created, right? Chrome Dragon. So here it is basically it will not give you any output because we do not have a main method here. Now can you see that I have a working class where I have a simple method. Now can you see this, whatever you declare here as a variable, string or integer or double, these are the properties of the class. And whatever method, can you see how do you identify a method? A method will have parentheses like this. So these are the behavior, what like this method, if you call it, it will be printing something in the output, right? So if it does something, this is the method. If you consider, let's say if I give you an example, right, if you consider a car, how does it work? Like a car has a color, it is blue color or red color or silver color, right? It has window, it has steering wheel, right? It has 4 wheels. But on top of that, these are the properties of the class, properties of car. But on top of that, a car drive, right? A car, you can drive the car, right? A car, you can listen music. So these are the behavior of the car. So now you have created this class, but you cannot use it. So to use it, let's say I'm going to create another class. I'm going to name this class as my Polar CLS, and you know that the class name with the uppercase, and I'm going to include a main method here. Now remember this class, right? This class is nothing. If you do not create an object of this class, you will not be able to use this class. So how do you use this class? You will have to create an object of this class. How do you do that, right? How do you create an object? First of all, the class, and then name the object of the class. Let's say my obj, right, equal to new, right? Now you have created an object of this class. Now if you take a look, if you use this object, and then can you see, if you put it like this, object name, if you put a dot operator, can you see dot operator? Now can you see S1, S2, you can see this variable, and can you see my example method that you have created? Can you see? You can call the method. Now if you execute this, right, you will see. Now if you execute this, right, you will see that. Can you see from in the output from inside my example method? So what does this mean? This class that you have created here, my working class, it is in theory. It becomes practical when you declare an object like this, when you declare an object of that class. And once you have declared an object, by that object you can call all of the public methods. All of the public methods, right here. Let me put a public word, right? I put public. All of the public method that you have designed, you will be able to use them. Now let me show you. Now if you put my obj dot, can you see s1 s2, right? My example method, can you see everything? We can see. Does it make sense? All of the inside the class whatever I have, I can see through a clear glass that s1 s2 is available here, my example method is available here. Can you see this? Okay, so let's say instead of putting something, if you put a private here, and then if you go there, now if you put a dot operator, can you see s1 s2? But you can see my example method, right? This is public, that's why you can see it. Does it make sense? What is the use of public and private? Now so if you do not put public or private, right, if you do not put public or private, then it is by default, the keyword is default. You do not have to mention it, but there is a default keyword. By default it is a default keyword. You do not have to mention it, right? It is by default, it will take place. So this default, I'll show you what happens with this default access specifier. Can you see this? Public, private, this is called access specifier or access modifier. So what is the name of this public and private? Access specifier or access modifier. Now you see that since you have, can you see another thing here? We said void means we are not returning anything from here. And can you see I didn't put anything here? What does this mean? It means I'm not, when I'm calling this, right, when I'm calling this, I'm not passing anything. Now let's define another method. Okay, I'm going to define another method. Let's say void, okay, void print my name, void print my name. And you, let's say here I'm going to define a variable. So let's say I want to take name in that s1 variable, right? And then actually that s1, let's see what, okay, so here let's say that I want to take this name, right, in a my name, right? Actually not int, it will be a string. And then what I'm going to do here, I'm going to print something here, right? I'm going to say my name is বাই ডিফল্ট যেটা, এটা পাবলিকও না প্রাইভেটও না, এটা একটা মাঝামাঝি জিনিস, আমি তোমাদের এক্সপ্লেন করে পরে বলবো। ওকে, সো এখন একটা জিনিস দেখো এখানে, রাইট, আমি আরেকটা মেথড এখানে ডিক্লেয়ার করলাম এবং এই মেথডটা দেখতেছো, এই মেথডটা আমি এখন দেখবা কল করব। এখানে কল করার জন্য কি আমার অবজেক্টটা ইউজ করতে হবে, রাইট? মাই অবজেক্ট ডট ক্যান ইউ সি মাই প্রিন্ট মাই নেম, এটা এইভাবে কল করবা। এখন দেখো এটা কিন্তু একটা প্রবলেম তৈরি করবে। কারণ প্রবলেম তৈরি করবে কেন দেখো, এখন এটা একটা কমপ্লেইন তৈরি করতেছে না। কমপ্লেইনটা কি? দ্য মেথড প্রিন্ট মাই নেম ইন দ্য টাইপ মাই ওয়ার্ক সিএলএস ইজ নট অ্যাপ্লিকেবল ফর দ্য আর্গুমেন্টস। তুমি এখানে দেখতেছো সে একটা এরর দিতেছে। কি এরর দিতেছে? তুমি যদি এখানে দেখো এই মেথডটা এখানে প্যারেনথেসিসের ভিতরে উই হ্যাভ স্ট্রিং মাই নেম, দ্যাট মিন্স ইট উইল টেক অ্যান আর্গুমেন্ট। when you call when you call you will have to supply a string. Let's say my name is Zahiro, right? Double quotation, yeah. So can you see, if you supply, if you put something here in the parenthesis, right, then you will have to supply something, and then whatever you supply, it will be stored here in this my name variable, and then it will be printed. Now if you execute, right, you will see that. Can you see my name is Zahirul? Does it make sense? Okay, now let me define another variable, another method, sorry. in this in this method I am going to say, let's say, no, let's say wait there. So print my name, uh, my name, print my full name, right? Full name. So here my first name, and then I will have another parameter, my last name. Okay, now my name is, right, my name is my first name, and then I have a plus, and then I have another name, my last name. না, কমা ইউজ করা যাবে না, ইউ ক্যানট ইউজ কমা এখানে। what we are doing string concatenation. We are adding this string plus this string plus this string. Okay, now if you come here, right, my obj dot full name, right? এখন তোমাকে how many parameter you will have to supply, right? So you will have to give two names, and last name you will have to give your last name. Okay, does it make sense? So now what you are doing, you are supplying two parameters. When you are calling this method, you are supplying two parameters. So what is happening here, guys? If you take a look now, if I run this code, right, can you see now it is printing, right, my name is Zahirul Buyan, but can you see there is no space in between? No, after, so if you come here, after plus, can you see after first name I need to put a, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a double quotation, and then I'm going to put a space, and then I'll have to put another plus here. Does it make sense how I did it? Yep. Now if you run it one more time, now can you see there is a space in between? না, string s1 s2 আমরা কল করি না, will use these variables. Now we will use this variable for purpose. You will see that now. Can you see? So let's say that I have a double here. double, let's say yes, right? Now I will be using that, but this is a method. This is a method. This is a method. But what is this? This is the properties of the class. Now what I'm going to do, guys, what I'm going to take a look. Now I'm going to create a method that will be, can you see so far what we did? We have taken parameters, but we didn't pass anything from the method. Now we are going to pass something from the method, you will see. So now you will see, instead of void, I'm going to put double, because I'll be returning a double value from this method. So you will see that um, let's say my calculator, right? And then you come here. So my calculator, double my calculator, you will see it will be taking what? It will be taking, let's say for example, it will be taking a symbol. Let's say string uh, string operator, and then double v1 or double n1, and then double n2, right? And then my goal is, let's say what I'm going to do is, let's say for example, let's not worry about this operator. Let's just think about these two number that we will take from it, and then we are going to put result equal to, one second guys, one second. Guys, so see, I was working over the weekend as well. I was working over the weekend as well for my work, and while I'm talking to you, I'm also communicating with the corresponding people. So it is like, for me it is, yeah, double role, and I have my MBA assignment that I'll have to submit as well by this evening. So it's not like it's, for me, like I'm working, it seems like when we go to office, okay, I work night, but it seems now I'm working till midnight from home. So all right, so here if you take a look, now result equal to, right, result equal to n1 plus n2. Okay, so can you see, still I'm having an error. What is that error? Can you see, you have a return type and you are not returning anything. So how do you return, and then what do you return? You want, let's say you want to return the result. You know that result is double, right? Now can you see that no error, right? No error. So if you come back here, right, if you declare, let's say you declare a variable, double my base, and then let's say my obj dot, right, my obj dot, can you see my calculator? And now can you see, you have to supply two numbers, right? Let's say I'm supplying one number 10.5 and the other is 15, right? And put semicolon. Okay. Now if you run, right, it will not show anything. So what you will have to do, this method, this method will be, this method will be returning something, right? Since you have a return statement. Now, whatever it is returning, if you pour water to a glass, you will have to have a glass underneath. Otherwise, the water will be going nowhere. It will be going on the floor. Is that correct? So I am here. I am pouring water. I am pouring water, but what is happening is I do not have a container to store the water. So can you see this container? I'm going to, whatever it is returning, I'm going to store that result in that my result, and then I'm going to say system dot out dot println. Okay, and then I'm going to print this result my res. Right, my res. Now if you run it, you will see that. Can you see what we got? Does it looks familiar to you? Do you understand what we did? System out println. Yeah, you can do that in the other class, but here I'm getting the result like to show you how we can return value, right? I show you and then I'm printing it here. It is meaningful here. You can do it wherever you want. Yeah, you can do a print statement here as well. Doesn't matter. But this is a demo how you can take parameter and how you can return result. Do you understand up to this? And then can you see this properties, this variable I have used here? This variable, whatever you declare here, this variable is available to this method, is available to this method, is available to this method, is available to all of the methods. You can use it wherever you want. Got it, guys? Any question? Yeah, we will be we will be discussing further. We have, this is called data type. We have double data type, integer data type, right? Character data type, string data type. In Java, there are there are 8 primitive data types. Primitive data type means integer, double, float, int, char, long. There are 8 primitive data types. So those we will be learning in the future classes. Okay. So now the other thing that I want to show you, let's say that you have this package 2, right? Let's go back to the package 2 and create a class, and then let's say my package 2 cls and include a main method, and there in package 1, what do I have? My working class, is that correct? And my caller class. Inside my working class, I have all of these variables and methods, right? Now I'm going to give me 1 second, guys. I'll have to declare, I'll have to join a call, but let me quickly show you. If you come here, my package 2 class, now can you see, if you declare an object, right? If you declare an object and new, right? Now can you see, if you take a look here, it is complaining, right? Can you see? Since it is in other package, I'll have to import. Can you see? Now it will not complain. Now can you see this import statement added here? because it is in other package. That's why you have to improve. Now if you take a look, if it is in other package, that's why it is in another package. That's why you are not able to access it. Now, so if you take a look, right now, can you see your my example method, right? My example method is only available because if you take a look, my example method is only public. This result is default. This print my name is default. This is default. This is default. That's why you do not see them there. But if you were a default, if you use a default, right? Now let me see what is that. Default methods are allowed only in interfaces, right? So here, let's say, sorry. So if it is default, right? If it is default, then if you come here in package 2, you do not see those method. You do not see those method. Can you see? You only see whatever is public. Whatever is public. If you use a public word here, right? And then if you go to this class, now can you see the other method is my calculator method is available here. Does it make sense? Okay, so with that, I'll have to join another call, but I'll be supplying you this recording so that you can practice, and I'll be sending you a few other videos for you to practice. Make sure you practice it and complete all of the examples, those you did in the video, and we'll be discussing further. If you have an issue, we will be discussing, we'll be answering the question, and also I'll be bringing new topics. All right. Thank you guys. Stay safe. I'll talk to you. Bye.